everything apparently is somewhat negotiable. It's certainly not in their best interest to be cutting all those big trees off the property. But on the other hand, I don't know why there'd be any objections on certain zoning districts within this to applying the tree ordinance to those, the same as you would any other development. You can see from that there's a number of different types of properties they propose for it.
Low rise, mid rise.
Yeah, that are exactly like.
Well, what do you need all that for if they only can do? Well, anyway, I don't understand. We don't need, you know, from the committee's point of view,
Right.
we have an ordinance, and this is a special exception, right? That we've never done before
To our ordinance.
to our ordinance.
It's not, no, Bobby, that's the wrong way to say it. It's not a special exception to your ordinance. It is a zoning district that's being created that there's never been, to my knowledge anyway. I think this is the first time there will be a tourist resort zoning district created. Now, are there going to be some things contrary to the tree ordinance? The answer is yes. I mean, I'll be perfectly candid with you. But the fact of the matter is, it's not directed at the tree committee, at the tree ordinance, or anything else. It's directed at the much larger problem that's been.
So are you in favor of this?
Am I in favor of it? I'm going to not say right now. I am going to tell you that I'm in favor of resolving the lawsuit. However we have to do.
So you don't have an opinion whether this is,
I
as a
haven't.
tree committee member?
As a tree committee member, I think it's beyond this committee. So I don't have an opinion about that. If you want me to ask me about the lawsuit, I'll be happy to tell you what my opinion is.
I'll say as a tree committee member, we haven't been given enough information about what their plans are to take any position.
I agree.
But I think when the lawsuit is settled and they move ahead with these plans, I think we should consider our organization part of the group that reviews what their plans consist of.
Well, I mean, if you look, there's not that many exceptions. I mean, there's trees, the significant trees are still going to be preserved that are over, and one of the stipulations was 24 inches.
Well, and I would suggest for all the committee members, if you want to see, is to go look at the proposed zoning change and reach your opinion based on that.
So Rick, what you're saying is it's not really
It's not, they're not going
exception
to go
to it. It's that
This is
it would be outside of it.
what I'm saying is, this is going to be a zoning district that's created that there's never been another one like it. And
For which we don't even have a tree ordinance.
It's necessarily
specific
going
to
to
that.
relate. And right now, all of this area is outside of the city limits and not subject to the tree ordinances. I appreciate it. I may be mistaken.
I agree with Skip.
No, I've been asked not to.
So that would be why they created these
Right.
Outside the city limits.
different areas within this PUD that none of which fall within our basic R1, R2, R3.
It's not, it's, those designations
They're
are
all
not,
new to us.
are not applicable to this.
And who would
to
make
what
the
they're
decision,
proposing.
who's gonna make the decision on whether or not they get this new special zoning inside the city?
Ultimately, the city council.
Okay.
Planning commission's already made their decision.
So, I mean, it's a moot
What they want
point
to do.
until that happens. I mean, until that happens, the tree ordinance applies. As written.
I believe, now, I would not say that I trust these people as far as I can throw them, but it is a beautiful piece of property, and the trees contribute greatly to that beauty. Now, they're hurting right now. You know, I think they've sold 5 of their 56 units in the first building. And
You're right.
yeah, and they want to, I don't think they're gonna go in there and clear cut and destroy the property because it would lose its charm. And I think they will try to preserve as much as they can. And I have been told that they will preserve that stand of oaks.
Yeah, but it's part of that RZ zone.
Yeah.
It's just, I just wanted to bring it up because it could be a nasty precedent It's something we ought to keep in mind, that there's
Well,
designations on that proposal for multifamily dwelling units where the tree ordinance wouldn't even apply.
Well, I think before the city council gets to a vote, they need to know where our position as a committee is, because it affects the tree ordinance.
That comes up the next meeting.
August 9th.
But, I mean, does the tree committee have any power? Are we still
No.
back to?
Oh, we don't have any
Yeah,
power.
We don't have any
But I
power.
mean, we
Can
could
we
say-
enforce the ordinance?
We could say before you vote and make a special zoning, here's our position. Otherwise, what are we doing on this committee?
Yeah, but I don't think we ought to make any statement until we know what this means in terms of saving or eliminating trees. I agree with Mariah. I'm not sure I, trust them to do exactly what they say, but it's in their best interest to maintain the property in as pristine a condition as they can, or they
Well,
can't make.
is it an automatic condition if the city council approves this zoning change? Is it an automatic condition of the zoning change that they get a waiver on the tree ordinance?
It's possible, because
It's
it may
not
not
really a
apply.
waiver.
It's
It's
not,
what,
it's what the zoning ordinance, it's what the new zoning district allows.
They wrote their own zoning,
No, they didn't write their own zoning.
okay?
They
That
work
was
real
done by
closely with the
John.
city on it.
That, they went through Jonathan Smith's
They were.
planning office.
Okay, so the city is saying if this new zoning comes in, then we're gonna change for this piece of property, the tree ordinance, or modify it.
There's certain, the revisions to the ordinance, yes.
See, we're powerless.
Ordinance.
Sounds to me like if I just did the Boolean logic correctly, it doesn't matter what we do, so why even talk about it?
That's probably true.
Okay, well then.
Because really, I've been asked not to enforce the ordinance now outside the city limits, so.
Okay.
Isn't there talk of them coming into the city limits? Or is that just?
No,
No,
ultimately,
that
I
would be-
think that's part of the.
Right, yeah, that
that's
would be inside the
part of
city
the
limits.
agreement. It will come into the city limits.
Jennifer, who asked you to not enforce the tree ordinance?
I was asked to look over these documents and, come up with something, try and work on, of course, on the best interest of the city. And look at the ordinance and how it applies and what would be changed, and if I thought that would be something that would be fair. And I did, and that's, so I worked right along with Jonathan.
I understand, but I mean,
Building
on
plan.
anything outside the city limits, you've been asked not to enforce the tree ordinance?
On
think
the
you can.
landscaping.
It's a
You
city
can
ordinance,
enforce,
so.
yeah, but you can't enforce ordinance outside the corporate limits, can you?
We always have in the planning jurisdiction, or I have for the last 7, 8 years.
But another thing that we've got to realize is, if a part of this property is designated as residential, and it, through whatever method of sales they use to get title into the owners, into the hands of the people who are gonna build on it, it becomes residential property, it's outside the tree ordinance. We don't enforce the tree ordinance on residential property. We gotta be careful about where we're gonna take a stand, because right now, we don't even know if we have a
For
stand.
multifamily.
There's some zoning in there for business, isn't there, or
Yes, ma'am,
retail?
there
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is, I think it's gonna be
Well,
residential.
Jennifer, is that a secret document, or is it something that
No.
members of the?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, I think any citizen's entitled to go ask for the proposed, I think there's going to be a proposed thing, I don't know if it's been officially published yet. But there's going to be a resort tourist zoning district, and I would urge everybody that's interested to go
Get it from Jonathan.
get it from Jonathan. I don't know whether it's officially been published, with that caveat, I don't know, but I would say.
Published in the Courier.
Yeah, some of it's